Hey guys, Blue Collar Bourbon Dad back in action for you. I know it's been a while since my last video, and I've had a few people requesting that I put a few more out there, so I took a little time off. I know when I first started doing these, I was a little new to whiskeys and bourbons, and I figured there's no better way to come back into it with a little bit more knowledge and some fun adventures. So my mom and I have actually visited a few distilleries over the last couple years, and I figured what better way to come back than to take a look at the top 13 distilleries in the Kentucky area that we visited and kind of give you guys an idea of which ones to do on your own if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars doing the actual Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So let's start it off. Now, all 13 of these I had a lot of fun at. They all had their different ups and downs, and it might give you guys a good idea where you want to go if you are like me and you only have a limited amount of time in Kentucky to go around and taste all the wonderful things they have to offer in the bourbon world, or take a look at the beautiful grounds that a lot of these distilleries have. So my mom and I did this, and here is what I've come up with. And I know how everyone loves lists, so this doesn't mean that they're good, bad, or otherwise if it's the bottom of the list or the top of the list, but the top of the list is obviously my favorite. So we're going to start from the bottom of the distilleries that I visited with my mom, and we had a great time at, but this was the one that was number 13 on our list, was New Riff Distilling. So close to the Cincinnati border. We hit it coming home from Kentucky. The distillery itself is in this really big parking area that has this really awesome huge liquor store right next to it. So if you want to go liquor shopping right after you hit there, definitely some awesome things to take a look at. Probably the busiest city-wise one that we were able to stop at. They had some cool stuff in the store. Just depends on what you like. When we went there, they had mostly rye bottles for their special bottles and whatnot. So it wasn't anything that was our favorite. We're not rye people for the most part, but nice, small, quaint, had an open bar. Not a bad place to stop, but more that busy kind of city-esque feel to it. Number 12 would be Four Roses. Now there's a lot of Four Roses fans out there. I'm not really one of them. I know bourbon's taste is different for everybody, but I'm not a huge fan of the Four Roses. Although I do have a bottle, I can't say I've gotten through it very often. But their grounds are beautiful. We did not pay for the tour there, but their gift shop was awesome. It's definitely worth stepping in, especially if you're a Four Roses fan. They've got most of their spirits available there outside of like their super rare ones that everyone kind of is interested in. Number 11, Jeptha Creed. Was on our way to kind of like a middle point between the two spots we wanted to hit our last trip to Kentucky. The Jeptha Creed grounds are beautiful. They have an awesome outdoor area. They have a little amphitheater, and their inside store is like really cool and a lot of really neat things, and their prices are really reasonable. Their bourbon was not my cup of tea, but I would definitely not discourage you from checking out Jeptha Creed. Their guided tasting was not too bad, a little clunky, but all in all, I would say we had a lot of fun there, but I may have been a little tired since it was the end of our last bourbon trip, so they were our 18th, 19th, and 20th bourbons we tried that day. 11, Angel's Envy. Now, Angel's Envy bourbon, and especially their rye, I really like, but the Angel's Envy distillery, we didn't pay for the tour, we just kind of popped in when we were in Louisville. The store is really cool. It's really upscale and chic, and nothing in there is like super overpriced as far as their bourbon goes. Now they have all the glassware and all the extra Angel's Envy things that you could possibly want if you like shirts and barware and all those things. But the thing that I really liked was that they actually had little sample vials if you wanted to try their bourbons. And I've always wanted to try their rye, seeing it for $90 a bottle. I wasn't ready to take the risk on that one just yet. So it was really nice to be able to buy just a little sample vial of their bourbon, or their rye, sorry. And it was so worth it. Like that's definitely, I wouldn't say too many times $90 a bottle is worth it, but the Angel's Envy rye, definitely a million times worth that price if you like rye a little on the sweeter side. All right, next one up is Boone County. Now when my mom and I go on road trips, we sometimes do what's called a brown sign stop. And if you travel up and down 71 or 77, you'll see the little brown signs that show different places you can stop off and take a look at. So we were on our way home, we left a little time for a brown sign stop, and Boone County was the brown sign we saw. So we're like, I've never tried it, let's give it a shot. Pulled off the highway, we popped inside. They had a nice small gift shop, which I actually like. I don't like having it super just spread out and tons of stuff. Like I like it simple and neat, and Boone County definitely hit that. And their staff there was super awesome. We poked around, we wanted to try some stuff, we asked about a tasting, and they said, well, we don't really have an official tasting just yet, and we were kind of in a hurry. But she was like, I can get you on the end of our tour and taste there. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And the guided tour was, the end of it was amazing. You end up in this room that looks like the inside of a barrel, and it's all got the blackened look and the whole nine. But the bourbon was actually really good. I had never really heard of Boone County before. But the bourbon was good. A couple other spirits they let you try were pretty good. And then they actually had a 7-year age statement of their regular Boone County bourbon. And I picked up a bottle. Haven't tried it yet, but the regular pot still was really tasty. So overall, great experience at Boone County. If you ever get a chance to stop in there, I definitely would. All right, on to the next one. Castle and Key. A distillery that I didn't really care for the spirits they had, but the grounds there are amazing. So we actually got there because we got to Buffalo Trace too early one time, and we needed some stuff to do. And people had told us we are really good at making line friends, and people told us about these other distilleries around Buffalo Trace that you can try while you're waiting for your tour. So we went there, and it was an old castle, and the inside was really cool, and the setup they had was really cool, and you could walk around the grounds a little bit more than most other distilleries without paying for a tour. Although the tours looked really cool that we saw going in and out of the old castle, we didn't have time to pay for that, but we would probably go back and check it out next time we go down there. But they actually had a little bar outside, and you could grab a drink and just sit next to the canal and just see these beautiful old grounds. Definitely one on my list I would check out again. So with that, let's go on to our next one. So we are at where? 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. On to number 7, Limestone Branch Distillery. Another one of these really awesome small places that was kind of a brown sign stop for us again. We were on our way to Maker's Mark that day, and we saw the sign. We're like, let's check it out. And we popped in, and the owner was in there with his 2 dogs. And we just got a sample. We wanted to try what they had. So they are the makers of Yellowstone and Minor Case. And we really enjoyed the Yellowstone bourbon I had never tried before. And they actually had a flight where you could taste like their basic Yellowstone, and there's an upper one where they had all their limited and super aged spirits too. We didn't have time to try that one for $50, but next time we go back down there, I will definitely plan to try that one. But the bourbon was great. The people were super nice. They have a beautiful little outside patio that's got lattice covered, and it's a really great spot to stop for a few minutes and see what they've got going on for them. Number 6, the Neely family distillery. We actually had a chance to meet one of the original owners and his dad when we went there. But it's a super small spot right by the Speedway, and we had a great experience with them. They actually let us in a little early. We were on our way home before they even opened, and we happened to catch the owner, and Paw was sitting outside, and they let us in to try a few things, and we walked out with a couple bottles. And the great thing about the Neely family distillery is that they've got kind of something for everybody. So they've got the hardcore good bourbon, they've got the rye, they've got their award-winning absinthe, and they also have all the flavored moonshines and stuff like that too. But what's really cool is they get their little, they've got the smaller bottles like this, and everything in there is small batches. So if what they have there doesn't do it for you that time, just go back again in a few weeks or a month, and they'll have like a little bit different of an expression there for you in their gift shop. So some really cool things with the Neely family distillery. So the next one on the list, number 5, is Woodford Reserve. And Woodford Reserve just kind of gives you that feel of the old school Kentucky horse racing as you go there. So we stopped in there after Buffalo Trace, and it was like white fences and a beautiful tree-lined road and just this big, vast open space. And then you walk in, and the place just feels classy. Now, the one thing that's cool about Woodford, we did not try their, we didn't do a tasting there. We haven't done the actual tour there. But what they did have was like their experimentals and your annual small batches. And we did pick up one of their brandy cask finish from last year or 2 years ago at this point. And it was really tasty. A little pricey at $50, but something you can only find in Kentucky at their distilleries. So that was kind of a cool thing. And then if we had time and a little extra money on that particular trip, we probably would have taken the tour there. But we're big fans of the Woodford Double Oak, so it was worth stopping in just to say hi to that distillery and check out what they had. But their gift shop was really big and amazing, and the people there were super friendly and really had their information down. So definitely worth stopping in there too. Our next one was Maker's Mark, number 4 on the list. Now, Maker's Mark has a huge grounds, and all of their buildings are really neat looking and really decked out, and they've got a bar there to try all their different expressions. And if you're a Maker's Mark fan and you like that wheated bourbon, definitely go try there. Now, their retail prices are a little bit high for my liking, but they also have like just this beautiful expansive grounds where they've got these different painted horses and different buildings, and they've got, once again, like a little canal running through their property. And definitely a great place to get your steps in if you want to check out some bourbon and get a workout at the same time. And their gift shop was huge. And although the prices, they chose not to compete with their other local liquor stores and distributors, they had a couple neat experiences in there too. So you can actually hand dip your own Maker's Mark bottle. If you buy an unwaxed Maker's Mark and you want to dip your own, that's right there available in the gift shop without having to do a tour or anything like that. They also had a couple of limited edition spirits in there that I like Maker's Mark, but I don't $100 like Maker's Mark. So if you're really into their brand and what they do, they had a couple of limited expressions there you couldn't find in a store, especially in Ohio. And like I bought some of their stuff before. Like I have the cask strength, which I really like, and a couple of their other expressions from Ohio. I didn't really get a lot of the different tasting notes on it like we've done in a previous video, but they had some ones there that were in that same ballpark of like limited barrel expressions. So some stuff you can't find in any stores around there, you can only find them at the distillery. So definitely worth walking the grounds just to check it all out. If nothing else, hit up Maker's Mark. It's not a bad place to go. The next one, now these are my 3 top favorite ones I've hit so far. Bardstown Distillery. We actually paid for the tour and tasting at Bardstown Distillery, and it was definitely worth the $35 or whatever we paid for it. And they really kind of take you in this nice molded of old school and sciencey. Like when you do your tasting, they let you taste the White Dog and then the barrel exit stuff, and then they let you taste the finished product of the fusion. And it's really kind of cool how the tour guide walks you through how to taste it, what to kind of look for, and then you get a chance to go into the warehouse or the rick houses and see all the different barrels and who they hold stuff for. And then you get a taste right out of a barrel with one of the barrel thieves, which I thought was really cool, having some 120 proof with a little bit of barrel char in my glass. And it was surprisingly pretty good. I don't know whose bourbon it was going to be eventually, but it was actually really, really good. But they actually have in their gift shop is all of their expressions are pretty much available. They had some really cool things, like they did a series with Founders, and they did some other series with an Irish distiller that has never been in America before. And they had all those things available in their gift shop at pretty close to their retail prices, as well as having a lot of their Discovery series and their Fusion series that sometimes the bottle's a little hard to find in your state. They had all those available there at reasonable prices too. Like I think I paid $10 for a pour of the Discovery series that is really hard for me to find in Ohio sometimes, even though their Fusion series is not too hard to find. Or any other ways, blue label versus red label. Red label in Ohio, hard to find. Blue label in Ohio, pretty easy to find. But at $65, great bottle, awesome experience. The decor of that place was really interesting to walk into and see. I really enjoyed my time there with my mom, and that place was really cool to kind of see where they showed you the mash and how they do everything there, and kind of gave an idea of their story. And I'm really excited to see what their expressions are going to look like in a couple of years once they hit that 6-year age statement on their first barrels. All right, number 2, Buffalo Trace. Now, I know there's some big Buffalo Trace people out there that love Buffalo Trace and they can do no wrong, and there's some people out there that hate Buffalo Trace because they're big and hyped and everything else. But the one thing I can say about Buffalo Trace is I have taken a tour there before, gotten in line online a month in advance and waited however many people on that virtual line and have gotten my free tour. And the tour guides there are always amazing. The grounds are beautiful. The history is a lot of fun. They do a great job guiding you through that hour, and it always ends in a tasting. And even though it's usually the same stuff they let you taste, it always tastes good. Even the Wheatley vodka, I'm not a huge vodka guy, but it's pretty crisp, good vodka. The other part about Buffalo Trace is if you get there first thing in the morning, the thing I like about them is they actually offer, as some of you may know, but if you're new to bourbon, they actually have some of their products available to you that are hard to find or allocated in most states like Ohio. So every day they'll have Buffalo Trace bourbon available, but they will also have, you know, your Weller Green Label, an Eagle Rare, a Blanton's, or an E.H. Taylor. But if you get there when the distillery opens at 9 a.m., there you will usually be met with a line of around 200 to 500 people. And if it gets out that it's a Blanton's day, it might be a few more. We got there at 9, we waited in line, and we were in and out of the gift shop in about an hour. And it was a Blanton's day one day and an E.H. Taylor day another day. And we had no problem. They have an amazing system set up there to get people in and out quickly and efficiently without causing too much trouble. And my mom and I are both chatters, so we had a great time making friends in the line and always trying to find a local to figure out where there's some other cool spots to stop. And we found a lot of great just stores and other places to hit. And that's how we found some of these other distilleries to go check out that are close to Buffalo Trace the last couple of times. So Buffalo Trace is number 2 on my list because their experience is amazing. Their grounds are beautiful. They've got a nice like mix of new and old everything going on there, and they actually have some of their good spirits available to you. And my number 1 distillery that you should definitely check out and try if you ever go to Kentucky is Willet Distilling. Now, the only knock I have on them right now is they are currently going through like a beautification process at their distillery. So it looks a little gray there. They've got some beautiful like butterfly bushes and some nice beginnings of their grounds, but you can definitely tell they're really putting in the landscaping right now to make it this beautiful estate. But aside from that, they've got like a really small gift shop. But the great part about their really small gift shop is they have almost their entire line of distilling products available for you to buy at normal pricing. So it's not jacked up, it's not too crazy. It's a couple bucks more than maybe some of the distilling or stores that you would find around Kentucky, you know, like Total Wine or something like that. So a lot of times it's not even worth going to an outside store. Just pick up your stuff there. Number 2 I loved about Willet was they actually had their hard to find stuff, like their new wheated bourbon that's $300 a bottle. They had a bar there available for you to be able to taste it if you wanted. Now it's $50 a pour, but that's normal price. And the cool part was, unlike most distilleries, it was there and available. So were there estate bourbons that you can't find in almost any state, especially Ohio, that go on the aftermarket for really high? They had those products there for you to try, not for free, but I mean, if you paid for it. But I thought that was really cool of them to have those bottles sitting there, so give you a chance to find something you'd never be able to find. And then another thing I loved about them is we actually paid for a tasting there too, not the tour. And the tasting, the lady we had, Ann, that led us through it, was amazing. We had a chance between my mom and I to try all of their expressions they had available. And I really like the Willet line of stuff. You know, their 4-year rye is great. Their old Bardstown bottled and bond that you can only find in Kentucky is one of the best buys, around 20 bucks that you can possibly find. And she just made it fun for the group of 8 of us that were there. And then the final thing I really liked about Willet is I told every distillery that we went to that it was my mom and I's birthday. We were celebrating birthdays on this trip. And they were the ones that actually put something up on a chalkboard in their lobby, and we got a picture with, you know, everything they did. Just, they didn't do a whole lot for us, but it was nice to be recognized. You know, they asked if it was a special occasion. They're like, great, and they put our names and our ages on the board and said happy birthday with a couple other people that were celebrating that day. But they were the only distillery that took the information and did something special. So I thought that was really cool, on top of the super nice people and the great booze at Willet Distillery. So number 1 distillery, Willet. You killed it, but all of those distilleries are definitely worth taking a try, going out to Kentucky, drive around the beautiful landscape. It gets a little hilly in the back roads, but my mom and I had a great time. We tried a lot of different bourbons and ryes, and I hope this list helps you on your plan and makes it so you don't have to get on a party bus with 20 strangers if you don't want to. So like every other video, guys, I hope this helps. It's too early for me to have a drink right now. I got to take the kids to soccer, but have a great day.